Hello, and welcome to Red Clay This Month, the show that brings light to important educational issues that affect students at the Red Clay Consolidated School District in Wilmington, Delaware. I'm Dr. Judith Conway. I'm the Supervisor of Unified Arts here at Red Clay, and I will be your host for this show. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss the opportunities for special education students once they graduate from Red Clay. So let's get started. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sarah Celestin. She is the Director of Special Services here at Red Clay. Well, hi, Sarah.
How are you?
I am great. How about yourself?
Thank you. Good to see you, Dr. Conway.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So we're here to talk about special education students and their opportunities beyond Red Clay, but let's put it in perspective.
Sure.
How many Red Clay students are served by the Special Services Department?
Sure. So our population has been growing the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
In the 2018-19 school year, we actually started with just close to 3,000 students. So our official number at the start of the year was 2,920 students, which is roughly 16%, just over 16% of our population, total population in Red Clay.
Okay, so your department then gives a few extra services to this 16% of our most needy students in terms of academic needs.
So those students that are qualifying for special education services, they have an individual plan. It's called an IEP, an individualized education program. And within that program, they can get an array of supports. It could be academic. It could be social-emotional. It could also be therapeutic, so different types of therapy services. So there's an array. And for our older students, middle school and up, we have a whole section in the IEP which is related to transition planning, which is really looking at what those students want to do beyond high school, and really working with them to hone those interests.
Excellent, excellent. So, what's our vision? So let's figure out, you know, not how we're going to get there, but where we're going. What's the vision for students that receive special services for them beyond Red Clay?
So for all of our kids, we really want them to be able to live not only just a wonderful quality life, but really fulfill their dreams. So if they have...
So just like all of our kids.
All of our kids. Just like all of our kids. So I wouldn't think of it as anything different than all of our kids in that whatever they aspire to be in terms of career, if they're aspiring to go to college and have more training, more education, we want that for them. And so part of our transition planning services is really helping them to get there and to achieve those things. We just start at an early age to really work on specific skills, think about, you know, things that we're going to need to put in place before we get to that step. And then also there's a whole piece of the planning that involves connecting them with other services beyond high school so that they can continue to have supports from other agencies after they leave us in Red Clay.
Okay, so it really starts like when would you even start thinking about transition planning?
So, well, you know, a lot of people say we should begin even when the kids are really little, but officially we begin in 6th grade in Red Clay.
Okay,
so,
but still 6th grade is pretty early.
It's early. In fact, I was just at a meeting the other day with a 6th grade family, and it's a transition because the students are just coming from elementary, and then they come into 6th grade, and we're already starting to talk about the future, what dreams the student has, what they're interested in. At the middle school level, it can be more targeted around what their interests are and what high schools have career pathways that may be a great fit for them. And then as they grow and as they increase in the grades, then we actually start to look at college and career planning.
So So that's the vision. What's the actual process? You talked about being at a meeting. You talked about individual education plans.
So the process, there's actually multiple pieces to it in that prior to the meeting, the special education teacher as well as other members of the IEP team would work with the student on something that we call transition assessment, which can be a variety. It's not a paper and pencil type of assessment that we think of when we talk about tests. It's really more of rating scales, interviews, discussions. There's different career interest surveys that students will take, and they vary based on the grade and age of the student. And so that really helps the teachers to understand what is the student interested in. There's also a questionnaire that the family fills out. Some of those things are more global about other needs that the student may have in order to develop their individualized program, but there are specific questions related to transition and where a family can see their student in the future. And so we, as a team, we use all of that information that we gather to help develop a plan within the IEP. And so in that specific plan, we really look at what are the ultimate goals of the student beyond high school. Not just for career, but in terms of education, also in terms of independent living. Where do they see themselves? Where do they want to be living down the road? We also look at specific activities and services that we can do that year with the child to help them increase their skills and increase their knowledge about their interest area.
And so that will just follow them from 6th grade all the way through 12th grade, and for some of our students through till they're 21.
Yes, so it continues. So it kind of builds on itself each year. So we start that in 6th grade. Every year we're updating it, we're tweaking it. We have some students that obviously, like any other student, that their interests change. So maybe in 6th grade they're interested in working with animals and potentially veterinarian or veterinarian assistant, but then by the time they're in 8th grade they might be interested in a different career pathway. And so each year we're updating that, we're changing the activities and services to continue to build the students' skills. And sometimes it's exploration activities, especially with younger kids, about what are they most interested in. Some kids will say they're interested in being, for example, an NBA basketball player, but what makes them interested in that? Is it basketball? Is it things behind the scenes? Is it photography? Is it production? Is it working with the community? And so sometimes students, through that process, discover careers and interests that they didn't even know about, starting from something like being an NBA basketball player.
Right. Yeah. And I really like the way you phrase that. Rather than say, I want to be an NBA basketball player. Well, what if you don't make it? Or, well, what if you hurt your knee and you can't do it? Like something like that. You're approaching it from a much more positive point of view and saying, well, what is it about it that you like?
That you like, exactly. So
is it the travel? Is it the playing?
This is something that we do training on for our staff, for the teachers, because it is kind of an art. Transition planning is an art in that sometimes students will say they want to do something and the teachers will say, well, that's actually not their strength. Their strength is in this area. But in that planning process, we never really want it to be a negative process for the student and for the family. So we really want to try to open up opportunities for them and get them to think about different things. So for example, I had a student when I was a teacher that wanted to be an NBA basketball player, but had never played basketball, was not on the basketball team. And so in talking with him about his interest, he actually was really interested in more of physical therapy, sports medicine, because he had experienced physical therapy himself. And he had gone to like a sports rehab previously. And so he wasn't necessarily interested in playing basketball, but he was interested in that kind of physical therapy aspect. And as he went through high school, he became very interested in becoming a physical therapy assistant or working as a technician in a PT program. And he actually went on to college for those skills and is now in that career. And so I think sometimes it might start as talking about one thing, but then once students see the different options and opportunities, it grows their interest in other areas.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Sarah. I think that's really interesting information, and it's good to know that we have transition plans in place and that there's this process and method and people pay attention to it every year.
Yes.
It's important to us all. And so thank you for doing that work that you do.
Oh, it's really a privilege to work with the families and get to know the kids and the families and their interests. And so honestly, I feel like when we talk about the services we offer, this is such an important service because we're really talking about where the kids are going to be and what they're going to be doing for a lifetime. And so it's really important for our department to support that.
Excellent. Thank you. So I would like you all to stay tuned for our next guest who will share a different perspective on today's topic.
Because of you, I felt hopeless.
Because you said rude things about my work, I started to question my own voice.
I know it was a joke, but it still hurt me.
Because of your negative comments online, I've almost quit doing the one thing that makes me happiest in life.
Because you shared something about me that was private, I felt embarrassed.
Because you said hi to me on the first day of school, I felt included and I knew that I was going to be okay.
Because of you sharing your story with me, I feel comfortable sharing my own.
Because you were there when I was coming out, you helped me regain my confidence.
I'm still here today because of you.
Welcome back. Our next guest is Kathy Maddox. She is the principal of the Meadowood program and Project Search. Please join me in welcoming her. Well, hey, Kathy, how are you?
Oh, great. How are you doing?
I'm well. I am well on this this cold, blustery day.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. So we've been talking about transitions and helping kids transition. So tell us first about, you're the principal of the Meadowood program and Project Search. So tell us what the Meadowood program is and what Project Search is.
Sure. So the Meadowood program is a program right here in Red Clay, and we provide educational services for students with intellectual disabilities. Now, they attend regular buildings throughout the district, preschool all the way up through 12th grade, and then our students that are 18 to 21 years old, they attend our Meadowood transition program. And so really their day is spent out and about in the community and getting vocational training.
Oh, excellent. And how about Project Search?
So Project Search is an amazing program. It's actually a national program, and we have 3 sites here in the state of Delaware. So I supervise the program. That is Newcastle County. It is a 1-year program. It's for students with disabilities in their last year of school. And so we are at Christiana Care Hospital. We have a partnership with Christiana Care and 2 different adult providers, Community Integrated Services and Autism Delaware. And we all work together to provide opportunities for those students. Interns is what we call them, student interns. And they go through different rotations throughout the hospital and really have a lot of hands-on training.
So it's not just like first state school that's at the hospital. It's like this is really their internship, if you will, absolutely, at a job that might come to them because they've had this experience at the hospital. And so what kind of things do they do at the hospital?
So we're in all areas of the hospital. So we have, we really work with the interns on finding things that they like. So some of the jobs that our students do, we have some students that really work on preparing the medical carts that you would see in the operating room. We have some students that are working in the pharmacy, really using equipment to separate out the different types of prescription drugs that all the doctors need. Some students are working in the cafeteria. Some students are patient escorts, where they are delivering the patients to all areas of the hospital. So we really are in many different areas.
Oh, excellent, excellent, very interesting. So how do these programs fit in with Red Clay's strategic plan to prepare, like one of our goals in our strategic plan is to prepare all students for success. So this sounds like it fits right in.
Absolutely. So, we're really looking at all of our students to be future ready. They're really ready when they are leaving us. They are ready to go and fulfill their dreams and their goals. So we really are providing that hands-on training. And so that way, when they leave us, they are ready to go. And that is really what being future ready is about.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. What have been some of the recent success stories coming from these programs? So, we talk about things generally, but let's really see do you have a couple success stories you can share to give us examples of these good things?
Absolutely. So, when we talk about Project Search, when we look at our data over the past 3 years, all of our interns, we've had an 80 to 100% competitive employment rate.
Wow.
So it's been amazing. So, and students, some of the interns do get employment at the hospital, but it's not just the hospital that we're looking for. We may have a student that has a different area of interest. So we're looking at different area businesses also. But we have one student who went through Project Search, and about 3 years ago, he was hired on by Christiana Care, and he's still there, employed. And, so when I go to check on my Project Search kiddos, I then see, our student that got a job 3 years ago, and he's still there, and he's doing great. And so it's seeing that's just amazing, We have one student that is working full-time at Salad Works, and that's something that she wanted to do. And so when I go in and get my salad, I see her there working, and she's doing a great job. So it's just, there's so many success stories.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
Yeah, and then for our Meadowood program, really looking at lots of different success stories. We have one particular student who graduated last year, and he had been with us for a number of years, and he really wanted to work in the kitchen. So one of the things that we did, we developed a partnership with Del Tech. And so we have a lot of our students from the Meadowood program in that transition site. They go to Del Tech, and there's a variety of different jobs that we can do there. So we have students that work in the daycare. We have students that work in the cafeteria, students that work in the library. So all different areas of Del Tech. And then they're also there working, and they're around their same age peers, which they absolutely love.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even think of that, but you're right. That makes such a difference.
Absolutely. So we had this one student that was really interested in working in the kitchen. So we got him connected with the cafeteria at Del Tech, and he had so much training there and just really learned so many skills. So that way, when it came time to looking for a job for him, we got him connected with the right adult provider, and he's now working full-time at Delaware Park in their kitchen. And we get text messages and emails from them all the time saying what an amazing job he's doing, and thanks for all the training that you provided. So it really makes you feel like you're having a great impact.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Well, that sounds fabulous. This is, again, just another example that shows how hard Red Clay works for all its students.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what your needs are, that we're going to pay attention to you, and we're going to help you guide where you want to go.
Absolutely.
So thank you. Thank you, too, for all your hard work.
Oh, my pleasure.
Well, we're going to take another break now, and I hope you'll come back for our last guest.
Have been with you through every moment of your life. They were with you when you felt unbreakable, and with you when you had your heart broken. They were with you when you shared your love with the world, and with you when she became your world. They're still with you right now. But how well do you know them?
In Red Clay, there's more to being a school nurse than just giving out Band-Aids. Sure, we help prevent the spread of flu and other diseases, but did you also know that we work with physicians to coordinate care? We administer medication and manage chronic disease. We coordinate sports physicals and provide education to students, staff, and communities. We deal with stomach aches, sprains, and nosebleeds. We conduct screenings for hearing, vision, and so much more. Plus, we document it all. And sure, we give out the occasional Band-Aid or two as well. Red Clay Nurses, keeping your kids healthy is what we do best.
Well, here we are back from break and ready to welcome our third guest for today's show. Please join me in welcoming Lakia Belcher. She's a district educational diagnostician and one of our transition specialists. Hi. Hey, Lakia.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for coming. So we've been talking about helping students transition from when they're done with our education, our educational system, I guess, that we offer here at Red Clay, and we send them out into the big wide world. So you are our transition specialist, so why don't you tell us a little bit about that? What is that? What do you do?
Well, in the short, I am the person that kind of connects the dots. I help buildings connect with different state agencies, such as the Division of Vocational Rehab or the Division of Developmental Services, making sure that students have access to programs that their typical peers have access to. Or we help them understand the supports that they can get when they go off to college. So we're helping them either get their career started or get their college started, depending on what they want to do.
Oh, and so do you, so you oversee all of that work? I'm sure you don't do all of that work.
No, I don't do all of that work, but I do help buildings oversee that work. So I work with our secondary building level district or building level educational diagnosticians, make those connections for families and students. So I provide them with resources, I attend meetings if need be, if we're dealing with more difficult cases, and just help students down the path of whatever their dreams are.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So what training programs, we talked a little bit about that with Kathy Maddox, but what other training programs do we have in our district to help kids figure out their dreams and go for them?
So, you know, Kathy deals with MTP, which is the Meadowood Transition Program, as well as Project Search, which I work with as well, with partnership with Christiana Care in Newcastle County. But we also partner with Humanum for Start on Success in partnership with the Division of Vocational Rehab, which is a program for students that are juniors and seniors that are looking to get a paid internship in an actual work environment. And we partner with the YMCA, the Veterans Hospital, as well as some culinary agencies in the city of Wilmington. We also work with our CTE programs. Hopefully to set up localized internships for our students to make sure that they have those graduation requirements, but also hands-on skills if they want to go off into careers. We also, like I said, partner with state agencies to offer different opportunities based on the students' needs and what they're able to actually do.
Oh, good. So we've talked a lot about kids going into careers, but what about the kids who want to go to college?
With students that want to go to college, we often make sure that we partner with whatever schools that they're looking into to find out what the ADA requirements are, which is different from an IEP or a 504 going to college. So once you finish high school, you meet those requirements, your IEP kind of ends based on where you go to school. And so the schools have different requirements based on your IEP, but not your IEP completely. So it's good to have a connection ahead of time to know what the expectations are, so the school understands what your needs are, and to set up those services before you start. So I work with the schools to kind of make sure that they're partnering with whatever college the students are interested in and have that information ahead of time.
Yeah, and I don't know that I would have thought of that in terms of trying to be proactive like that in terms of saying, oh, well, I want these supports to be there when they get there, so we need to set that up ahead of time, as opposed to the kid just trying to set it up their freshman year when everything is new and different and
and it helps to partner ahead of time so they have an ally on campus. We all know that when we go off to college, typical peers sometimes struggle with making those connections, but a student that has an IEP or a 504, they find it more difficult and also and sometimes isolating. So if we can help build those relationships ahead of time, they know that they have a safe space to go to. They know who they can reach out to, because sometimes the professors are these big, giant creatures that we can't really reach. But if we have an office where we feel safe and we can ask for help without any shame, then that's what we try to connect ahead of time. And it helps parents as well, because then they know that there's a safe space like there was in high school to help support their students' needs.
And that's so important in terms of being comfortable someplace and feeling like you have a chance to be successful because you've got someone, you've got a support system. You've got someone you can go to, and you know where the writing center is, and you know where
You know where your help is.
That's right. The library help desk even,
Right.
you know, and whatever else a child would need.
Right. In order to be successful. And every student deserves the opportunity with or without an IEP or a 504. So if we can help make those connections ahead of time to relieve some of the anxiety, then we're doing our jobs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Helping our students to transition to new and maybe sometimes scary situations is important to us, because unless you take the risk, you might not realize your dream, and we want that for all our kids, for sure.
Right, and their success is our success.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's all about the relationships.
That's right.
All right. Well, I would like to thank all of our guests today for taking time out of their busy schedules to be here with us. Thank you for tuning in to Red Clay this month, and I hope to see you next month.